Well, hey, Fort Wayne, welcome back to another episode of Fort Wayne Footy. And I believe this time we are actually live at 9 p.m. on Sunday night as advertised. So the technical difficulties that we had last week are not going to plague us any longer. We're on a new system. We're on StreamYard, and we're here, and we are live. Welcome back to the show, guys. We'll get to introductions here in a second, but I got to tell you, this week was a rough one for me. This weekend was a rough one for me out on the soccer field, watching some games that, my son was in. Micah, your son plays on the team. We could have won the division outright. We lost 2 heartbreakers at home. We never play in Fort Wayne. I walked off the field thinking, I don't want to talk about soccer today. I shook it off. We had a good lunch. I come home. I watch FC Cincinnati play against New York City FC at Citi Field, which, guys, have you ever watched a soccer match on a baseball field?
Mm-hmm. I don't even think you can call that a field, to be completely honest. It's way too small.
It was horrendous. It was small. The infield they just throw sod out, and the lines, like you see the every 5 or 6 yards that they cut and they mow that it goes a different direction, like the different shades of green. We're like at an odd angle because it's a baseball field, and that's the way they normally. It was hard to watch. So not only was that hard to watch, they lost a heartbreaker to New York City FC 1-0. So I'm coming off of 3 losses that I watched this weekend, and I'll tell you what, I'm excited to get into Fort Wayne FC matches this coming Saturday or Sunday, just because it gives me something to look forward to. My name's Brian Biedenbach. I'm the host of Fort Wayne Footy. I've got 2 great co-hosts with me tonight. We're missing one, Autumn. We miss you tonight. I know you're not feeling well. Hope you get better soon. But I'll start off with Micah Middendorf. Welcome back to episode 2 of Fort Wayne Footy. How you doing tonight?
Absolutely. I'm great. Thanks for having me, Brian.
Man, you were there on the sideline for some of those games today. What were some of your thoughts?
It's I know what the boys can do, right? Like I see it I watch their training, I watch their speed of play, I see their ideas, I see the coaching points that coach has. So I see all of it, and then it just goes flat. And then we end up defending a little bit more than what we want. We struggle trying to get numbers forward. So those ideas that we want to incorporate, we're just not quite seeing it. But the boys they're trying so hard. You know that they're putting everything they have into the game. I've never had to question their effort. So everything's there. I think they just need to knock a couple goals in, and then everything will start flowing from there. So we got Snake Cup in a couple weeks. So
I think
they'll get it together.
That's the one thing they don't want to hear is we're trying hard, coach, right? But they are, the show's not about our kids' teams, but they do play here in Fort Wayne. And so we're naturally going to talk about that a little bit. Hey, before we get to Dustin, we want to know what soccer, if you're watching us live on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you happen to be watching, we'd love to know what soccer you watched this weekend, whether it was a pro league, a English Premier League, MLS, your kids' games. We'd love to know. Drop that in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Dustin Diller, our other co-host tonight. How you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Good, man. I'm warm. I was going to talk about the weather in Indiana, soccer weather in Indiana today. We were down in Indy this weekend for Challenge Cup, and this morning, 8 o'clock a.m., I think it was 38 degrees with a wind chill of like 32, pouring down rain. Came back, watched some games up in Auburn this afternoon. Same thing. And so let's talk a little bit about bipolar Indiana in May. But no, some good soccer. Watched some good soccer this weekend. Got to go to an Indy 11 game last night and saw them tie Detroit City. So it was good. It was good. I'm glad to be here indoors, warm.
So a couple weeks ago in the Circle Center, Circle City showcase. It was one of the showcases down at Grand Park. We played on a Friday night, and it was 60 degrees, but windy. We played outdoor. And so 60 degrees and windy on a soccer field. If many of you listening know this, that just because it says 60 degrees doesn't mean it's going to be 60 degrees on the sideline. It's going to feel like about 30 with the wind blowing. So all of you that go out there in your shorts and your t-shirts and you're ready to go with 60 degrees, and then you end up freezing, take some cues from some of us who've been at it for a while. Pack everything you have into your car trunk, rain gear, snow gear, sun gear, whatever you need, pack it all there. We played 60 degrees and windy. We played indoors on Saturday. It was a nice day. We ended up playing inside. And then Sunday morning, we kicked off at 8 a.m. and it was 14 degrees at kickoff, but no wind. The sun was out and it actually felt quite
warmer.
Nice. Yeah.
Warmer than on Friday or the other game.
I can say quite nice because I was in my winter coat and hat and everything. The boys were running around, but the fact that some of them were taking their hats off and their gloves off, I was like, all right, this isn't too bad. So yeah, the weather here in Indiana is pretty nuts. So hey, once again, if you are joining us live, we would love to hear from you as the show goes. If you've got something to say, a question for our guests later on in the show, if you got a question for one of us, feel free to drop it in the chat. We may throw it up on the screen. We may even ask a few questions as we go to see what responses that you have. But guys, last week I threw a teaser out there about the part of the show that we would welcome our sponsors and we would thank our sponsors. And I am excited to share that we do have a sponsor. After I posted that, we got our first call for a sponsor. Sorry, I hit a button here on my screen. FW-22. It is a 501c3 nonprofit. It's organized to facilitate community involvement in the support and assistance of veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury, while simultaneously educating on suicide prevention and mental illness. So thank you, FW-22, for your sponsorship. They have jumped in as a season-long sponsor of the show, which is pretty fantastic. So if you're listening and you are interested in sponsoring the show, we've got room for other show sponsors, episode sponsors, whole season sponsors. We would love to connect with you and talk with you about what that looks like. But Dustin, I know you're familiar with FW-22. Jared is a friend of yours. Can you tell us a little bit about who they are, what they do, and why you're excited they're sponsoring us?
Yeah, so yeah, I've known Jared for a little while now. FW-22 is a great organization within the community. They work with veterans. The 22 is kind of a play on the 22 veterans a day that take their lives to suicide. And so they work with veterans, getting them plugged in with mental health and substance abuse treatment within the community. It's no charge. You get online, you fill out a questionnaire, Jared reaches out to you and he plugs you into the places that you need to get to. So it's a need out there in our community for mental health services, especially among our veterans. So love the organization, love what Jared's doing. A ton of community work. We're working on a 5K. They've got a golf outing coming up. They always do a hike. And yeah, so they do a lot of stuff to kind of support the veterans within our community.
Yeah, so we appreciate the work they do, and we appreciate, again, their sponsorship of Fort Wayne Footy here on this very first season of the show. Without us really even proving ourselves and what we can do, we appreciate you getting behind this and helping us out, push us forward. I know, I can't remember if you said it or not. I was looking at something else on my screen, but I know Jared has been plugged into the Fort Wayne community. Yeah. He's played here. He's connected with the soccer community, and he was really excited, just some of the interaction I've had with him. I don't know him personally like you do, but some of the interaction I've had with Jared, he was just really excited about what we're doing and bringing the soccer community together. So again, thank you, Jared. Thank you, FW-22, for your sponsorship of Fort Wayne Footy. Guys, it's preseason, sort of. I mean, it's a pretty short preseason for Fort Wayne FC. So we want to talk about some of the things that are coming up this year for the team. I drove past, I don't know if you guys have been out there. I drove past where they are building the new stadium because I was just curious. I knew it was on Bass Road, and it got me a little excited to see the trucks out there, the construction vehicles, the ground that's mostly level at this point. I'm pretty excited about this new stadium that's coming in next year. Have you guys been out that way at all to check it out?
I have. Yeah, I've driven by it. I'm excited about where the location is. I think it's going to be really cool for the community.
Yeah, go ahead, Micah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great location for it. Like as you come up the road, you're going to see this fairly massive stadium. So I think it kind of, and it's almost in the middle of like residential areas too, right? So it kind of gives you like a Wrigleyville, Lambeau Field type vibe as well. So
I am curious though what that means for like pregame. If it's going to be like tailgate area, or like I know some stadiums are in more of retail restaurant districts. So I'm curious what's going to go in around the stadium, because there is still some land around there. There's residential areas and neighborhoods, but I'm curious what else. I haven't seen the full plans. Maybe there's plans for all of this. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But I know my wife's aunt lives out there, and she was like, I hear him every day out there. The construction vehicles, it's like I can almost see them out my back window, and maybe I'll watch the games on my back porch because they're that close. Oh man. So I drove out there specifically for that. Like, I just wanted to see, we were out and about and I wanted to see it. So I got excited about that. But this week is media day for the team. May 7th, they're doing some photography and some pregame, the player announcements and all the videos and things that they do for that. They're filming all that, taking all those pictures this week. I'm really excited about that. There's an opportunity we may have to be there. I don't know if we'll be able to make it or not to that one as Fort Wayne Footy, but we do have opportunities this season. I'm really excited to get in, to have some of the players even on the show, to be there at matches with some media credentials. So if you see us, wave to us. That's not a done deal yet. That's just an opportunity that we're talking through right now. So pretty excited about that one. But guys, they do have a match this Sunday night. Right. It's their preseason match against Sueño FC, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. But they just announced this last week, an international friendly. And I believe they do this every year, or I can't remember last year what it was. I went to the one against Chivas, I think 2 years ago. Did you guys attend that match?
I went to Chivas. I don't know who they played internationally last year.
So, Mike, were you at the Chivas match?
I went 2 years ago to that match. I don't recall again who they played last year, but again, it's still international competition. So it should be a really good match. Excited. Yeah, in Fort Wayne.
Yeah. How cool is that though, right? Like, it's this storied club from Mexico, Chivas, that came up 2 years ago. It was their U-23 squad, I believe. It wasn't their senior team, which I'll be honest, we talked a little bit before the show. I was a little disappointed because all I heard was Chivas was coming to town. And I knew, man, I don't know what level Fort Wayne FC is playing at yet, but I know they're a new team, and I know Chivas is not a new team. And so this could be awful. This could be big time. But to see the U-23s come in, and perform the way they did, to see the fans, the Chivas fans that came out and overran the stadium.
I was going to say, they pulled in a lot of people for that game.
They did. And so it's a lot of fun. So that was a few years ago, guys, but they did just announce they've got another international friendly that they're playing this summer on June 28th, I believe, at Bishop Darcy Stadium against another Liga MX team, Atlas FC. So Atlas, I know, is also a very storied club in Mexico that has, they've been around a long time. They've been a very successful club. I don't believe this season they're doing so well. They're near, I think they're in the bottom third, they're not at the playoff line yet. They're in the bottom third of the league, but this is their U-23s coming in as well. So these guys that are coming in, these U-23s are looking to earn a spot on the senior roster. Right. They're looking to make a name for themselves, to play for other Mexican teams, to maybe even potentially play overseas. So these guys that are coming in, though they're U-23s, they're no slouches, that are coming in here to play in our small town of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And that's something to get pretty excited about. Micah, are you, as you look forward to this Atlas U-23 match, I don't know if any of us are all that familiar with Atlas as a club, much less their U-23s. But what excites you to know that their U-23s are coming here to Fort Wayne?
I think, and you mentioned it earlier, just that these players are U-23 trying to make a name for themselves. And isn't that the point of USL too? So if they can't sign on with Atlas, they're going to sign on with another team. And that's just an overall professional progression. So, and I think that's what our boys are trying to do as well, whereas they're trying to figure out what their next step is going to be, especially with Fort Wayne moving up to USL 1. Maybe they're trying to find a spot for a contract next year.
Yeah. Dustin, what about you? What excites you about this match?
Honestly, to me, it's just the fact that we have an international game in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's just crazy to me. I mean, growing up when I was a kid, I mean, Fort Wayne was like the small town of Indiana, and so to just know that we're not the small town anymore, but to know that we're pulling these teams from international play to come up and play us it's just exciting. Honestly, it's fun to see their fans come out too. Like they're different. They're different than our fans in a good way and in a crazy way. But it's fun to watch just the interaction and how the excitement about the game of soccer just in general comes together. So
yeah, we talked to Christina Copeland last week from Three Rivers Regiment, who runs the supporter. They are the supporters group for Fort Wayne FC, and she's one of the founders, along with Shane Linker, that was unable to join us last week. Hopefully, we get him on the show. They're trying to build this culture, right, of the supporters group that chants and sings and yells and screams, and they have the chants that the crowd knows and gets behind and does the whole game. And so when an international team like Chivas or Atlas come, you get a sense of what that is and what that can be when a stadium is full of supporters who get behind the team in that way, in that sense. So just encourage you, mark your calendars. It's June 28th. It feels like it's a long way away, but summer goes so fast. Tickets, I don't know if they're on sale yet. They will be soon if they're not right now. They're going to be $15 to $22 for kids, depending on where you're sitting, and 25 to 30, I believe. I think I had that wrong on the rundown here for adults. And again, it depends on where you're sitting in the stadium, the premium seats or the upper decks or whatever. Bishop Darcy Stadium is not a huge stadium, and I do expect that it will be a full game to come to. And the Chivas match, again, that I went to a few years ago was pretty fantastic to be there, and the atmosphere was electric, and it was just a ton of fun. So this is an incredible opportunity. I know it's a long way off, but I did want to mention it here in preseason. It's an incredible opportunity, as you mentioned, for international teams to come play in front of this crowd in Fort Wayne to just build energy and build excitement. So I remember, again, I'm not going to talk about FC Cincinnati all the time, but when they were getting started, Crystal Palace came from the English Premier League, came to Cincinnati to play a USL championship team, which was incredible. And Valencia came the next year, and I forget who else from La Liga came another year. So before they were in MLS, they're playing these top tier teams from Europe, bottom of the table of the top tier teams in Europe, but it just helped build the energy. And I'm excited to see what that does here in Fort Wayne as they continue to bring in teams from overseas, internationally, Liga MX here in front of our fans, that it continues to grow the sport. So excited about that. Again, June 28th, check out their website, get your tickets there. But their home opener is this Sunday night, gentlemen, against Sueño FC. Now, this is a preseason friendly. It's not a conference match. Sueño is out of Joliet, Illinois. Did I say that right, Micah?
Yep, Joliet. Not to be confused with Juliet, which, by the way, is right next to a town called Romeoville in Illinois. So you have Romeoville and Joliet. I think it's a slight play on words there. So gotta love Illinois.
Okay, so that could be something. Christina, Shane, if you're listening, anybody from Three Rivers Regiment, maybe there's something there.
Play
a
on
chant
it
when they come into town, Romeoville and Joliet. I don't know. You're the creative folks that come up with those chants, but just a little bit of background information is always helpful to know the team that's coming into town here. We're going to push pause on the Fort Wayne FC conversation because we're going to bring in Dave Bennett from 1927 SC. Let me get him up here on the screen as we bring him in. Dave, you there? Can you hear us?
I'm here. I hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic. Dave Bennett is the GM for 1927 SC. They're the team we mentioned a little bit last week, and we saved a lot of that talk for this week because we knew Dave would be joining us. They're an men's amateur team that plays out at Fort Wayne Sport Club. If you're unfamiliar, we're going to talk all about that tonight. Dave, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Great, man. Glad to be on. First of all, Fort Wayne Footy is a fantastic thing you're doing here, Brian. I think I've been waiting for this for a while. It's really cool. It's about time. So time is right.
Well, I shared a little bit last week that this has been a dream of mine since Fort Wayne FC was announced, because I knew we had pockets of soccer all over Fort Wayne, and it was a growing thing. It was a growing sport. And I wanted to see what we could do to get behind it and help promote it. And the announcement again that they're going USL 1, USL 1 next season, new stadium, Pro Rel coming in 2028 to USL, which is pretty fantastic. Now was the right time. But in announcing that and sharing that, you reached out and got in connection with me, and I'm familiar-ish. I know of 1927 SC, but I'm not as familiar as maybe I should be. And I think it's a great thing. You and I have talked a little bit. I think it's a great thing. It's a men's amateur team, again, out of Fort Wayne Sport Club. Tell us a little bit more about 1927 SC. What do we need to know?
Yeah, so the 1927 team and the name and all that kind of came around about 4 or 5 years ago, where we started off in this little regional men's amateur league about in 2022 in the Ohio Valley Premier League, but that's this current version. 2011 we started out in the what was called a small league that kind of became, or what is now, the Midwest Premier League, which was the major Midwest Soccer League. Just like 4 or 5 teams. That kind of got our feet wet in there. Got me a taste for that. I loved it. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. We can compete. We just want to know if we can compete where our level is at. So we're there. We're where we need to be. Midwest Premier League is a great league. There's like 46 teams now, I believe, from Fort Wayne, Detroit, all the way over into Nebraska in our USASA region. So it's a big league, 4 conferences. We're in the Great Lakes West. We won that conference our first year in there in 23. We moved from the OVPL over to here. We just thought it better fit us geographically a little bit. Also, we're the way northernmost team in the OVPL. Now we're the most southerly team in the Midwest Premier League, but it's okay. So we love it. Our guys have a great time playing in it. But I will say, with all the foreign SC talk, we know that they've helped to create this large soccer vibe going on in Fort Wayne. That they have the reach and all that, and it's great. We're tremendously grateful for all that, and we appreciate that. We know that, and we know where we are. We know where they are and where they're going. So I wish FC all the best every year, and we're going to go about our business.
Yeah. I think the unique thing about this, Dave, is it's not the same as college football versus NFL, but there are people that love one level and not the other level, right? And I have a friend who, he's very much into Major League Soccer, but he found out we were doing Fort Wayne Footy, and he was like, man, if I could jump on board with that, because I love lower level soccer. It's guys that are trying to prove themselves. It's guys that are hungry, guys that are trying to get places that maybe have just not had any other opportunities. And so I think the having the 2 levels of 1927 SC and Fort Wayne FC as they progress through USL, I think is just a bonus for anyone that loves soccer in the Fort Wayne area, can watch it at whatever level they want to watch it and get behind it. Game days are going to be different. Admission is going to be different. Level of play is going to be different. And I think it just adds to the flavor of soccer here in the Fort. So it's very different, right, than Fort Wayne FC and how they go about constructing their roster. How does 1927 go about constructing a roster? Like, is it young guys that are trying to look for opportunities, or is it guys that have maybe had opportunities that fell through and now they're still looking to get back in the game? Like, what does it look like?
It's a good combination of, and we have, so first of all, I mean, the team is the backbone of the team, and is a gentleman, not a young man anymore, Jose Rodriguez. And I'll highlight Jose. He is he's what every team wants on their team. He's our captain. He's 31 years old, a wife, a young child and all that. But this guy comes every practice, at every game, and he is kind of what this team was kind of built on and for a little bit. And he sets the tone for the young guys, and we have a lot of young guys, a lot of coming soon to be freshmen in college, guys are just trying to stay fit, sharp for college. A lot of that, so it's a really good mixture of young and old. To really, it's really cool to watch. Actually, also how they all interact and get along.
Yeah. I wanted to ask a question really quick. So you play at Sport Club, you play at the stadium at Sport Club, correct?
Right. Yes.
What does the game day? How does that look? I mean, we've been Fort Wayne FC, we've been to MLS games, those kinds of things. Is it the same, very similar, or how does it look like that?
No, it's different. I mean, it's a little more laid back. We have like 300 members at the Sport Club. Not all of them come out to the games, but you can find them on the fence line, not in the stands. That's just what they do, man. That's the tradition. They stand on the fence line. So if you look up in the stands, half of our fans are actually on the fence line. So some of those pictures don't do it justice, I guess. But
yeah,
we're not drawing 1,000 people to a game, but we get a decent crowd out there. They have a good time. It's a little more laid back. Fort Wayne Sport Club food fair. Burgers and dogs and maybe some kraut and brats every once in a while, and beers and sodas and all that. So
yeah.
It's a good time, and the football on the pitch is very good. I mean, our record goes to show that we play a good brand of attacking soccer. Nick Potter, our coach, he's been a blessing for me and for this club, and his culture that he's established and we've established there, which is huge. And it's what we're all about, really, is the culture. So,
yeah. Who would you consider to be your biggest rivals?
Well,
that's a good question.
Changing. We've changed leagues a couple, from the OVPL to the Midwest Premier League, and then at first it was probably Inter Detroit, who we played in the season in 2023 and tied them 1-1 at their place, and then played them in the conference final and beat them 2-0 in Lansing. So they were, but I mean, it's probably Lansing Common right now. But Goshen City just came in the league from the UPSL, and they're a good side. They're a very good side, and so that's our in-state rivalry, and we're looking forward to an in-state rivalry because the conference is dominated by in numbers by Michigan teams.
What's your season like? When does it start? Is it the season similar to Fort Wayne FC?
Yes.
Or
we start next Saturday up in Holland, Michigan.
Okay.
And then we end on July 12th.
Okay.
I believe, with the conference. If we make it to the conference final, it's on July 26th.
Okay.
Right around there that weekend. Yeah. So, which we fully intend to.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to talk about preseason predictions later in the show for Fort Wayne FC. What's your prediction for, I know you can't bet on your own team, right? But knowing the roster that you've constructed and the level of competition, what are your expectations for the team this season?
Well, the level of competition question is a great question, because we have three new teams that came into our division. So we had Goshen City come in, Grand Rapids Soccer Club come in, as well as Midwest United's U-23s. And so there's three really good sides there. We lost Northern Indiana FC to they went USL 2, and a team out of Indianapolis that just was not up to the level. So I think the level of play is up, and even the other teams, Tulip City and Holland FC and Lansing have all gotten better. So I think it's going to be it's not going to be one of those 9-0 seasons or 8-1-1 seasons. I don't think it's going to be that. It's going to be tighter than that. I still think we're going to come out on top of our division, but it's going to be a fight.
It's it's a classic. Don't worry about the level of your opponent. Worry about the way you play. And we saw that, unfortunately, Micah, this weekend. We talked about it a little bit with our teams that we watch, right? So I love to hear that new teams coming in, don't know a whole lot about them. You just know who you are and what you can do, and you run that game plan and see if others can keep up with you. I love it. Dave, if you could, first of all, you were talking about the food service and things like that at always sticking with the German theme, right? The German club. So the brats and the kraut and the beer there at the club.
And the people serving it also. People that come to games, they know all those guys back there. They've been around doing this for a long time, so it's a friendly face back there, and that's sport club for you,
Yeah. So I guess my question then regarding that is, if you had hopes and dreams for how the stands fill out, who's there at games, people that are coming to watch and getting excited about 1927 SC, what do you think about? Who do you got fans lined in the fence line, and that's probably that would be me. I love to stand. I can't sit down at games that I'm into, right? But as you look up in the stands, who do you hope to see there this year?
We love to get the 20 somethings that just the supporters that they probably still play soccer at the recreational level, I guess, that just want to come out and root for a good team, root for a hometown team. If you're even if you're supporting the other guys in town, whatever, we're a different level. We just support Fort Wayne soccer, and we want that people screaming line for us and appreciating the effort and the talent out there on the pitch also, and having a good time out there. We don't really care who you are, if you're 75 years old or 25 years old. Just get out there and enjoy a good game and a great club out there, and maybe someday you love it and become a member of the club. So your first game is this Saturday, coming up in Holland, Michigan, right, against the Holland Rovers. What is your first home match that people can look forward to? 17th. On the 17th, we're home to Grand Rapids at SC, who we don't know anything about.
Okay. All right. And admission to get into a game?
$5.
$5. That's not much, folks. No, that's a pretty cheap date to get
Starbucks coffee.
Plenty of food and beer money, right?
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Well, Dave, we really appreciate you being here tonight and talking about 1927. I know I'm going to try and get out to a couple games this season and just learn a little bit more about the club and what happens there on the pitch to see the team play. I've known some players that have come up through there that have played there before. I didn't know much about it at the time, and I wish I had. They posted a postseason tournament picture, and I went, "You were playing in town all year and didn't tell me." I wish I would have known these things. So more dialed in now this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing the product you guys put out there and just being part of the crowd, standing along the fence line, or maybe sitting up in the stands.
Right on. Yeah, we love to have you guys out and get you some gear. Okay.
Oh, sweet. Man, you heard it here, folks. He's gonna get us some gear. Love it. Love it, Dave. Whether we get gear or not, we really appreciate you. We really appreciate what you're doing, and we look forward to seeing you this season at Fort Wayne Sport Club. 1927.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming.
Yep.
All right, that was fun. That was a fun interview. Dave's a fun guy. I'm getting to know a little bit as we just get into this Fort Wayne Footy stuff and talk about all the soccer that's happening here in town. So yeah, the stadium field at Fort Wayne Sport Club, there's a lot of seats there, right? I would love that if maybe we could let's dream about this. Maybe we could do a Fort Wayne Footy night at a 1927 game. We can get out there. Maybe I would talk to maybe about broadcasting live from the clubhouse some night this year, getting some of the young teams out there, the rec teams, the travel teams, getting to know some of the players, the coaches at 1927. So I'm dreaming out loud. These are not promises, folks, but this is the excitement that I have about this product that we're putting together, this podcast, and the soccer community here. So, all right. This week, though, there is some soccer coming up that we're excited about. We've touched on it a little bit. 1927 travels to Holland, Michigan on Saturday to play the Holland Rovers. And I don't know, let's be honest, I don't know how many people travel to follow that team. Maybe some family members, maybe some friends, but I think it would be fun to go to an away match. Sometime for Fort Wayne FC and for 1927. So if you're interested in that, let us know. Drop a comment in the chat. Like if you're like, hey, that's a fun idea, maybe I would do that. For either level of team, drop that in the chat tonight if you're watching live. If you're listening to this later in the week, let us know. You can get in touch with us on YouTube. Put a note in the comments there on our YouTube page, Fort Wayne Footy, on our Facebook page. Let us know, or you can send us an email to info@fortwaynefooty.com and just let us know if that was something that you would be interested. I'd love to help organize something like that this season or next, even as we look forward to that. I love it when away fans show up and are louder than the home fans. So how fantastic would that be if we could do that and put Fort Wayne soccer on the map, because our fans love to travel to away games. So 1927, again, they're in Michigan playing Holland Rovers on Saturday. And then Fort Wayne FC, as we mentioned, kicks off Sunday night, May 11th, in a friendly with Sueño FC. Now, here's the thing, guys. We've got a show that night at 9:00. And they play, I believe, the game. What time is the game here?
6, I think.
I think it's a 6
o'clock.
I think it's a 6 o'clock game. So there's a chance, potentially, that we could get out to that game and see it live. Maybe not, but we're gonna stream our show anyway. We're gonna know the outcome of the match. We're gonna talk a little bit about it, at least if we're not able to make it there. So would love to get fans out there, though, whether we can make it or not. We'd love to get people out to support Fort Wayne FC. 6 p.m. Sunday night,
Mother's Day.
11th. That's Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Take your mom. Take your mom.
I think I just saw they just said that I think all moms get in free with a kid's ticket. I just saw they just posted today.
Perfect. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll loan my kids out to any mom that wants to get in free to Fort Wayne FC matches Saturday. I'm gonna hear about that one.
You said it, Brian, not me. I didn't say it.
Listen, I got to be careful. We're streaming live. Like, we can't take this stuff back. I should know that by now. Oh, man. But hey, we want to know if you are watching live. We would love to know what soccer you're looking forward to this week. What soccer you are going to be watching. What soccer plans do you have? Fort Wayne FC 1927, your kids' game. Are you traveling to see an MLS game? Are you watching Premier League online? Like, what are your soccer plans? Would love to know what people are into here in the Fort Wayne area, here in town, and maybe even outside. Let us know that in the chat. And maybe that gives us some other opportunities to talk soccer with fans here in Fort Wayne. All right. The season is starting soon, and it's time for us to give our preseason predictions around Fort Wayne FC, guys. Micah, I'm going to let you kick us off. What do you think is going to happen this year?
I think it's a strong squad. When you look at the individual players that they've assembled, there's a Division II All-American in Kyle Oliveira. We have the AAC Offensive Player of the Year in Mamadou Diarra, plus Owen Wall, who I wish I would have grabbed it, but he's in MLS next, going to Cal Santa Barbara next year. He already has Canadian U-20 experience. And we know the rise of Canadian soccer over the past probably 4 or 5 years. So on paper, I'm going to say we look strong. And again, I don't know enough about our opposition to say, like, yeah, we're going to be 13-0 this year. But I mean, when we look at the players that we have, plus the returning players, right? I didn't even talk about Reed Sprout, in countless names players that we had last year that won the conference 2 years in a row. So I think that roster continuity says a lot. So the potential is there. I'm going to say we're 12-1.
12-1. Now, we talked a little bit earlier.
12-1.
There was some confusion about the one match, right? Is it 12 matches? Is it 13 matches? Dustin, can you clear that up for us? Because I was a little uncertain about that myself.
Yeah, so there's 12 conference matches, and then we're playing Lansing City, which is in the Great Lakes Conference, which is not the Valley Division. So I think it's just an out-of-conference extra game to get touches and get experience. But there's actual 12 conference games, and so I'm excited. They have 3 new opponents this year that they've never played before. They also have 2 that they have played before. So they played Dayton 3 times in 24, beat them all 3 times. And they played King's Hammer 3 times in 24, beat them all 3 times. So that in and of itself kind of makes me think, all right, let's go. If we're thinking 12, I would say 10-1-1 is what I would say. I'd like to see them go undefeated. I think they can, but I would say 10-1-1 is a safe bet.
All right. That's a lot of wins, Dustin.
I got confidence.
Let's go.
Yeah, right?
That is a lot of wins. Now, I'm confident in Micah, as you said, looking at the roster, looking at the players, their experience, the ones that are returning that went 8-2-2 last season in the Valley Division. I think Fort Wayne FC wins it a 3rd year in a row. I think they're conference champions 3 years in a row. 10 wins, though, man, that's really tough for me to really get my head around. If they do it, I think that's a fantastic pick there. I'm gonna say, oh, man, they win it at 7-2-3.
Ooh, they were what 8-2-2 last year, right?
8-2-2 last year.
Okay,
that gives them, I think, just 2 less points, and still puts them, I think, at the top of the table in that division. So again, I looked at the history of this. When you guys went roster, I went to the history of teams who played at one level and moved up. And now pro rel is not a thing. It hasn't been a thing in U.S. soccer. It will be a thing in 2028 in USL. But I looked at these teams that moved up from one division to another division. So it may have been they've been in USL Championship and they became an MLS expansion team next year, not because they won the division. They were just moving into a new rank of US soccer, right? And it's pretty overwhelming that teams that did move up, it's not necessarily because they won the division, because promotion's not a thing, but they did win their division the season before they moved up. So 1st or 2nd, there was an odd one in there that finished like 12th the 2 years before they moved up, and 4th the year before they moved up, but most of them finished 1 or 2. And so I'm going to say top of the table, Fort Wayne FC wins Valley Division before for 3rd year in a row before they move up to USL 1. 7-2-3 is my prediction. It's live. It's also recorded. We're going to come back and visit this at the end of the season, and we're going to see which one of us was closest.
We had some people.
Did you give a prediction on like the record, Micah? I don't remember if you did.
Oh, you
did,
didn't you?
Are we going at 13 games or 12 games?
Yeah.
So
I said 13.
That's right. You did a 13 game one,
yeah.
right? What was yours?
I'm going to 12-1.
12-1. All right.
12-1.
12-1. Dustin, you said 10-1-1. 10-1-1.
Yeah. There's some people commenting.
Listen,
I saw Rye.
I am normally the total optimist here.
I'm usually the pessimist. I'm usually the pessimist. Like I'm the pessimist, but I don't know. I just feel confident this year. I feel that there's a lot of energy surrounding the team because they're moving up. I feel like when you're moving up, hopefully that you're not like resting on your laurels. You're actually like, you want to prove yourself. You want to show that you're. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
It's that competitor. Like I've never entered a game where I didn't think I could win. So anytime I'm playing, I'm coaching, we're going to win this game.
Yeah. And it's product on the field, number one, but I think so much of that is the ambition of the front office. When the front office is bringing in players to compete and bringing in players to say, we've got something to offer, and we've got a team that wants to compete, not just at this level, but at the next and potentially the next. That excites me. And I think Fort Wayne FC has an ambitious ownership group. I know a lot's changed in this last year, so I'm really excited about what's to come. We do have some people chiming in the chat now. Rye Smelt says Fort Wayne FC is not leaving USL2 quietly. I love that, Rye. That's awesome. He also says that Coach Avery has always recruited for the next level. And I think that speaks to what I was just talking about. You know, the ambitions of the front office and the management and the team, the coaching staff and all of that. I love that. And I do think it's going to be a good season for us. We do have another young man here in the chat.
Who shouldn't be? He shouldn't be in there with his concussion that he's dealing with right now.
Jackson Diller says, Rye, I like you, for chiming in the chat. So thanks for participating in the chat tonight. We'd love to hear from more of you if you're watching as the show goes on. All right. So preseason predictions. We'll have to get Autumn's preseason prediction in here too, so we can throw her under the bus too at the end of the season when I'm right and you're all wrong, but they still win the division. So,
hey, if I aim high and I'm wrong, I'm way more confident in that. I feel I'm okay.
I want to be proven wrong. I want to be proven wrong. I am, like I said, I'm the guy that's like, we're going to win everything, every game. We're going to be, no losses, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out this year. The way to help that is to get on board with Three Rivers Regiment and get there and cheer on the team and give them your support. So check them out online as well. Again, Christina joined us last week from Three Rivers Regiment. If you're interested, go back, listen to that show, find out how you can get involved. Guys, I thought this week for our extra time segment as we wrap up the show, I just wanted to open the floor. Like, this is a time where we just want to talk about all things soccer that may or may not have anything to do with Fort Wayne soccer, and give you an opportunity to just speak your mind a little bit. Micah, I know you're really passionate about this segment that you're about to talk about. So I want you to kick us off in this extra time segment with your feelings on whatever it is you're going to share.
So I want to make sure I open this up to you guys. I want to hear your opinions. If you're in the chat, and this is about refereeing and the application of the laws of the game. And
we're going to refereeing already.
Yes.
This is show 2, and we're questioning refs.
Yes. I've never questioned a ref in my whole career. That all referees are great. So specifically, and I'll try to paint the picture for you guys. I'm talking about the advantage rule, when to apply it, and what the application looks like. For context, there was a play where the attacking player was going forward in on goal. The defending player came in and it was an obvious foul, pulled his arm, pulled his shirt, but the attacking player was able to get out of that foul. Okay. So obvious foul, referee called advantage, planned, great call, loved it. Keep attacking. You have possession. The attacking player took 2 touches and played an absolutely dreadful ball that got intercepted. The referee called the play back and said, free kick here. Now, the question I have for you guys and the referees out there, and even in the chat, was that advantage call applied properly? Is the advantage the result of the play, or was it the foul, right? Because the attacking player got through the foul, took 2 touches. Referee called it back because he played an awful pass, right? To me, we played advantage. It's not the result of the play. Let's keep play going. Yeah. Don't pull it back. So I don't know your thoughts on that. Again, I've never argued with the referee. I let them play. But I mean, what do you guys think?
Dustin, I'll let you start.
No, I think what would have been the result had he played a nice ball? Would it have been a goal if he scored a goal?
Could very well have created a goal scoring opportunity.
So how does it? So just because he played a bad ball, why would that change the call?
Right.
That's my opinion.
Right. So and that's what I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah.
Just so I'm educated as well. So if I do happen to argue, I know my stuff. Right.
For the first time. if you happen to argue for the first time, right? It feels a little bit like the NFL's 2 feet down rule. Is it a catch? Did you take 2 steps and make a football move, right? This one, the advantage rule feels a little bit like that. It's really, they try and make it hard and fast and concrete, but it feels a little subjective a lot of times. Was that a play that you saw today? Or is that...
No, it wasn't today. This is
okay, because I saw one just like that today. And we were on the other side of that. We were the one committing the foul. The player was twice the size of the player that was committing the foul, just shrugged him off and made a dreadful pass, and it got called back. It was the same. I just wondered if it was that moment. You know, so it seems that the last, I don't know, week or so of games that I've watched, refs have let that play go longer than I've seen it go in a while. So they let it play out. 1 pass, 2 passes. Did the player get in on that second pass? The first player made the 1 pass. Did he pass it to the player that had a good opportunity, or was he just trying to get rid of the ball? And so it looked like they've let the play go a little bit longer, which does concern me a little bit. It's a lot like the offside rule, and the call. We're going to let the thing play out, even though there could be a really dangerous collision between that striker and that forward. We're going to let it play out just in case it wasn't really offside. And so this one feels a little bit subjective to me, maybe more than that one does. I don't know what the rule is. I don't know if it's take 2 touches, make a pass. It does seem like it is a really subjective call that, I don't know. It's, it's good when you're on the one end of it that, you get fouled, but you make the pass. You get angry when the ref calls that back.
Yeah.
I think there's also an element of player safety as well, where say there's a foul and there's no call. You talk to any, even me, I'm getting fouled and there's no call. There's always an opportunity where I might retaliate, right? And then what's the right call? So I think it's a gray area. But I would love to continue to hear opinions on that and know what the exact application of that call is.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get a referee on. I'd love to have some referees on the program this year.
I would love to have referees. Just for a discussion, just for educational
Micah, as I was watching you, your head's going side to side, and then it's going up and down, and then it's going in circles, and I'm like, I don't know how to read that. So yeah, we'll get some referees on the show this season and talk through some of those rules. One of the things I want to do while we're here, and Dustin, I want to get to you and your extra time thoughts here, but one of the things I want to do on the show is educate. Right? We want to celebrate and elevate the game. But one of the ways we do that is to educate people who are listening about the game and things that we ourselves are even learning. We've been involved in the game for most of our lives, between the 3 of us, right? But there's still things that we're learning. There's new rules that have entered the game, the new application of old rules that are in the game now. And so one of the things we want to do is talk about some of these questions that you may have. So again, reach out to us if you'd like to, us have a segment about what offside is, or offsides, as Micah likes to calls it. Added that S there on the word calls too.
One time. You're not offside multiple times. Just one.
Yes. But if you do have questions on rules of things that happen, situations that happen in a match, you'd like to hear us chat about and maybe give you some answers, or maybe ask some questions ourselves of some guests that we have coming up. We'd love to know that. info@fortwaynefooty.com, or let us know in the chat now, live or post show. It'll be there in the comments as well on YouTube or Facebook. Dustin, extra time.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up it's fresh in my mind, but the thought of head injuries in soccer, and I think a lot of times, I think when we were growing up, soccer was not a physical sport. It was like you couldn't be physical at all in soccer. You touched anyone and it was like an immediate whistle and a foul. It's moved away from that. It's a very physical sport, and so we were just talking a little bit beforehand about, where are we going in relationship to the sport of soccer, because it is the number one sport for head injuries for young players. My son just got his second concussion in 2 years today in a game. So as we're thinking through that, what and Micah, you were kind of talking about where are we going in the sport of soccer? Are we going towards protecting our players and making them wear soft helmets in games, or what does that look like? How do you guys see that moving forward?
Man, I'll tell you this. I was a goalkeeper from a young age, and there was a season where they tried to get us to wear these like foam caps,
Mm-hmm.
and I wore it about 3 minutes in one practice and went, nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. I've seen other goalkeepers wear similar things. I've known players who have worn kind of the soft headbands that have the padding in certain like strategic places. One of them was because he's had 4 or 5 concussions, and his doctor says you cannot get another concussion. And so he wore it religiously every match, every training session, and he was good about it. Now, something like that, maybe I don't see it.
Yeah.
Soccer feels like a very traditional sport in that things aren't going to change. The kit's not going to change. Case in point, shin guards. People wear cardboard pieces of shin guard that are about 3 inches long because they have to wear shin guards.
Yeah.
Like either put something there that's actually going to protect you or do away with the rule. And we're not doing away with the rule.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe this concussion issue and the headband issue may be something similar unless it continues to get more and more out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think just the fact that we're still having conversations about it, I think is huge, right? Like the amount of research and concussions that's happened in the last 10 years. I remember when I was playing 20 years ago at this point. Sorry, I don't mean to say how old I am, but it was, oh, are you good? Yeah, heck yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Get me back on the field. Okay.
Yeah,
and I have headaches for weeks afterwards, knowing I probably shouldn't play, but no one's going to keep me off the field. But athletic training has come so far, especially at the high school level. And I have a great relationship with my athletic trainer at Concordia, where if there's any even hint of concussion, hey, you have to pull her out. Cool. No problem. I'll go talk to mom and dad. I'll explain it to them. This is where we're at. So I think safety above all else is where we're at with it. As a coach, sometimes I do get frustrated with it, just because I physically looking at the athlete physically, hey, I think they can play, but there's that concussion. Okay, now I have to hold out what appears to be a healthy player because we don't know. There's so much that we don't know about head injuries in the brain that I always have to err on the side of caution, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think we're monitoring it a lot better. It's not going to prevent the collisions.
No.
And I don't know if a small soft headband is going to prevent a collision. I don't think you're going to see a soccer player in a helmet, even a soft padded helmet. It just changes the game too much, right? Yeah. But I do appreciate the fact it is being monitored. Now, I will say this. My daughter suffered a pretty significant concussion in, early 2020. And if you remember what happened in 2020, you'll know that her volleyball season got cut short because everything that year got cut short. And so she didn't play a whole lot. And I just remember the testing that she went through for weeks and weeks and weeks, and the things that they were making sure, like, if you do this, whatever the exercise was, how do you feel? Are you a little dizzy, on a scale of 1 to 5 or whatever? And I'll tell you what, she was like saying a 2. And I did the same exercise as a perfectly healthy, at that point,
you were like a
pretty
3
in shape individual. And I'm like 3 or 4. Like, I'm dizzy doing that exercise. So I know they're monitoring it. Sometimes it seems a little over the top, but I do appreciate the fact that their doctors and trainers and coaches and parents even are looking out for young players and even old players. So, my extra time thought kind of goes along with that, Dustin, and it really isn't anything controversial. It really isn't anything. I got a question for anybody. It was just something that happened in a match yesterday, I believe, in the English Premier League match between Leicester City and I think was it Southampton? I can't remember who they were playing, but the referee was involved in a collision with a Leicester City player as he ran past him. The ref was, I saw the video and it's hard to even make out what happened, but the ref kind of turned, the player ran past him and the player's head smacked the referee like in the temple and the ref just went down. The player just kept running. Like he was a monster of a player. And like, he just kind of bumped the ref. He looked back and kind of put his hand up. He's like, my bad, sorry. But the ref is on the ground, right? Rolling around like a player that is faking an injury, time. And so nobody knew what was going on. The play continued. Jamie Vardy, that plays for Leicester City, spotted it, ran over to the referee, grabbed his hand that had the whistle in it, and blew the whistle himself. The player blew the referee's whistle to stop play. Now, I thought it was brilliant. Because the ref wasn't thinking about it. I don't even know if the ref was all the way conscious.
I was like, didn't even know. I was like,
I don't know if it was even a thought to blow the whistle, or even if he physically could have blown the whistle at the time. I don't know how bad things were. He was down for like 11 minutes. They said play resumed after 12 or 13 minutes. Players got back in the action, but Jamie Vardy blows the whistle. He said post game he saw the other team breaking down the left sideline and he needed to do something to stop play. So like was very honest about what happened. But I thought, man, what a heads up play for a player to see a referee down and to make a call to try and stop the game. I've never seen that before. No. I don't know that I ever will, but I think the ref's okay. He tried to get up. He was a little woozy. He was replaced by the fourth official that came out and finished the match as the center ref. I hope he's doing all right. But yeah, just on that note, players, be aware of what's happening to your own physical health, your own head injuries, but even those around you, your players, your coaches, that, sometimes stray balls go out of bounds and knock people down. I almost saw it today. Sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's not so funny. Yeah. But players, be aware of what's happening. Guys, thanks for being here tonight. It's fun doing this show with you. We did miss Autumn. We looking forward to having her back next week. Thank you to Dave Bennett for joining us this week from 1927 SC. And next week, we're going to have some games to talk about, and I can't wait. I'm really excited about that. So for episode 2 of Fort Wayne Footy, from all the guys here on the screen, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week.